Hello, creators. Here's the scoop on our in-person retreat schedule for 2026. Our next in-person retreat will take place on September 22nd through 25th, 2026. We will open early bird registration in 2025, so be on the lookout for that. You can learn more about the retreat and which track will be the right fit for you by heading to wellnesscentercreators.com/retreats. And feel free to email me directly at kendall@wellnesscentercreators.com with any questions. You might already be familiar with the name, but if it's new to you, Jane is a HIPAA-compliant clinic management software and EMR, and the sponsor of today's show. Chasing down patients or clients for important information isn't anyone's idea of a good time, especially when there are forms to be filled, payments to be processed, and consents to be collected. That's why Jane has designed user-friendly online intake forms, so you can gather all the information you need ahead of the appointment, whether that's health history, insurance details, or a credit card on file. Jane will even send a friendly reminder 24 hours before a patient's appointment if they haven't completed their intake form yet, saving you from having to manually follow up. To see Jane in action, head to jane.app to book a personalized demo. Or if you're ready to get started, you can use the code WELLNESS1MO at the time of sign up for a 1-month grace period applied to your new account. Hi there, and welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. I'm Kendall Hagensen.
And I'm Anna Rudel. We're thrilled to have you join us on this journey of creating innovative, patient-centered wellness centers.
As experienced health and wellness providers, we've seen firsthand the challenges of delivering comprehensive, holistic care to our patients.
That's why we created this podcast, to share the knowledge, strategies, and insights we've gained from our own experiences and from connecting with experts in the field.
Each episode, we'll dive into a different aspect of building and growing a successful wellness center, from developing a strong multidisciplinary team to implementing cutting-edge technologies and treatment approaches.
We'll also share practical tips, resources, and real-world examples to help you overcome common obstacles and streamline your processes.
Our goal is to empower you with the tools and confidence you need to create a thriving wellness center that truly makes a difference in your patients' lives.
So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your existing practice to the next level, you're in the right place.
Get ready to learn, grow, and be inspired. Let's create something amazing together.
Welcome to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Wellness Center Creators Podcast. Today, Anna and I are going to talk about how we have approached leading our teams through uncertain times and how we plan to do it during the present time. And for context, it is February of 2025. So this is where we are. Anna, welcome.
Thank you, Kendall. It's nice to be here.
Nice to see you. How you doing?
Yeah, hanging in there. Uncertain times, as you say.
Yeah. Yes. So Anne and I were talking last week about, okay, what do we want to share with our listeners in the next episode? And this topic came up about, well, how are we approaching leading our teams right now? And overtly what we're talking about is in the United States, and we have a new president. And this change, this transition, has created, kind of catapulted us into a phase of uncertain times. And there's certain things going on that really actually directly impact healthcare. And we are healthcare providers. So we wanted to talk about that a little bit today and how maybe compare that to like how we approached COVID, how we approached the pandemic with our teams and what we learned from that. and how we're taking those skills into the current time and how it might feel different in present day. I don't know. What do you think about that, Anna?
I agree. I think it's important to think about it. It's important to discuss it. And it's important to acknowledge that there is a high level of anxiety right now. And which is the same as COVID, right? But the difference is, well, there are many differences. And how we choose to lead our team, I think, can be make or break in some circumstances.
Absolutely. I've been feeling lately like COVID was very unifying for a lot of teams. But also it was polarizing for certain teams. Like if some of your team members were really against the vaccine mandates and all of these things, then that could have created a lot of separation on your team. I think in general, for many teams, it was unifying where everyone felt like, well, we need to hunker down and get through this together. And so I think the task for leaders at that time, at least my own experience is what I can speak to is, and, clients' experiences of what they've shared is that we felt a lot of pressure and a lot of weight on our shoulders to help guide our team through in a way that was safe, in a way that kept the business running, and also trying to take care of ourselves and our families and, at the same time. And I was seeing therapy clients during COVID. So there was that layer of like doing trauma therapy and working with clients while it's all happening at the same time. But the general sense was if I can keep showing up and I can keep coming in front of the team and just being a human, but also showing bravery and showing strength and vulnerability, and to keep showing up and say, it's going to be okay.
That's
it's
the
going to be
difference,
okay.
Isn't it?
That's the difference. It's going to be okay. And I didn't know if it was going to be okay. I mean, how would any of us know? I mean, I was told personally by all of my doctors that if I got COVID, I would 100% be hospitalized with the state of my immune system. I was told by my naturopathic doctor, in addition to my neurologist, all the Western meds and all the Eastern docs, Kendall, this is going to be bad for you, right? So there's that, all the fear in place of trying not to get sick, trying to help everyone else feel safe. And then we go to the business side, right? Where let's just have a chuckle.
Sorry.
Let's just have a chuckle about that and trying to figure out how are we going to keep the doors open? How are we going to get people to come through the doors? And, switching everything to virtual and all the things that we all did, right? But then the team, helping them feel safe enough to come back to work when it's time to come back to work. And the ripple effect of that is still happening for a lot of industries where they cannot get their people to come back in unless they're putting in a mandate. So all that to say, looking back on the pandemic, for me as a leader, it felt like the most important thing was to show up, listen to my team, and try to still focus on the work. Like, what do we do here, right? We provide healthcare. That is what we do. So always coming back to the core of that. And that feels like how I'm approaching the present state of things is we always come back to healthcare. And there's space to hear providers' experiences. There's space to be completely flabbergasted by things happening in our country and to be scared by how that impacts healthcare. And what, honestly, the thing that I really have fear about right now is if there are federal mandates and state mandates that impact healthcare. So right now, the conversation is around gender affirming care, right? Then we have to make a choice as a leader, right? So just like in COVID, when the state says you have to wear masks and you have to get vaccinated, you have a healthcare company and this is now the law. This is now the mandate, right? So that's different from just what's your personal opinion and approach as a leader and a healthcare provider. Then what do you do, right? If your opinion and your experience is different from some type of mandate that comes into your state, then you have to make that choice. Are you going to follow the rule? You're giving me a very confused look.
Well, I'm just thinking we're private businesses, so we shouldn't be mandated to.
We are private businesses, but this was the conversation in COVID, right?
Right.
Was that they said in our state, they said all healthcare facilities, right? And how do we define that? Do we define that as small business? Do we define that as one provider? Do we define that as a group practice? Right?
Yeah. We're still under a mask mandate here in Santa Clara County.
Are you?
We are every November through every March of every year ad infinitum. There is no end date now on this mask mandate.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And right. So then it's different all over the country. So it leaves leaders confused.
It does. It does. It leaves. That's a tongue twister if there ever was one. It leaves leaders confused. And it also, I think, I can understand mandates coming down. I have friends who are having to send out horrific emails to people, and the examples go on and on. I think my difficulty comes in, how do we support our team? Is there a relaxation of our boundaries around time off or needing to have, I don't know, support around how they navigate it? I don't know. I'm very confused by the whole thing. I do know that around me there are a lot of tears.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of turbulence. And that's manifesting in different ways throughout the company that is actually disruptive in of itself as well.
Well, that's where the issue comes in, is at what point does it become disruptive when we give space for these conversations in the workplace? And I've always, for people who have listened to the podcast long enough, right? I am a huge believer in making space in the workplace for real conversations, personal and professional support. What are you going through? How are you doing? Right? But that's different to be able to give space and go around the circle and say, and 99% of everyone says, I feel really tired right now. I feel run down. I feel overwhelmed. I'm trying not to watch the news. I'm trying to just focus on my little community, and that feels tiring, right? That's different than starting a debate within your team, right? Or getting caught up in, well, this happened, then that they did that, and then this happened, and then he said, there's nothing we can do about that, right? And so I think the way that I've been approaching it in the past few months, especially, is we give the space that is planned, we meet every single week, and we have certain times where it's time for sharing and how's everyone doing and what do you need support with? how can we support you in this environment?
Mm.
And what do we need to know that's going on outside of this environment that we could support you with or help you with resources, right?
Mm.
And it's continued encouragement of when we have increase in external stressors, we have to increase our care of self.
Mm.
And that is just a fact of life that we learn over and over again, right? Is that, okay, well, if we're feeling, this extra weight from the outside, then we got to ramp up our care. And how do we do that? And does that mean more time off? I definitely find myself being extra flexible. We're always pretty flexible with time off, but I've just been approve, and really encouraging my team members to take the time that they need. And, people are getting sick more often during this time. It's cold and flu season. People are getting pneumonia. We're getting it's all sorts of things going on and high stress. And so, I think for leaders, it's also reminding yourself nothing is permanent, and reminding your team nothing is permanent. All things are impermanent. And at some point, if it's affecting your business that people are taking more time off or whatever it may be, right? At some point, things will be different.
I agree. I think my difficulty, I understand what you're saying. And with the flexibility and with the understanding and with the openness and with the conversation, is there a timeline? I mean, we're going to be in this current times for likely the next 4 years. So
Right.
are we now saying, okay, for the next 4 years, we're going to relax our PTO approvals, or right?
Mm-hmm.
So as
It's an
business
excellent
leaders,
point.
we need to figure out our budget, and we're worried as well. What does the
Yeah.
bottom? How do we keep things going right now?
What's the threshold, right? And I think
Yeah.
the goal is okay, we can't get to a place we were in during COVID. So we have to prevent that. And how do we prevent that? And you're right. We have to decide for ourselves what's the threshold. How much time off is too much? And at what point does there need to be shifts in the team or hiring more people or different people, right?
Which creates more transition.
which creates more transition. But psychologically, right, when these types of things are going on in our environment, it creates uncertainty and creates fear. So, which most of the time has nothing to do with your company. But because people are working for your company, when this starts to happen in their environment, it can start to feel like, well, I need a change because I need to be in control of something. So you might see more people deciding to leave the company or make a change or go work on their own or do something different, which of course we saw as a ripple effect of COVID. But I predict that we might see some of that start to happen because, as humans, right, we want to have control. We want to make meaning of it and take control of our situation to say, well, this feels uneasy or I feel too burnt out doing this. Like people come to me and say they're burnt out, and it's, that opens up a conversation. Well, now we need to pause and have a conversation because most of the time when an employee comes and says they're burnt out, they are typically putting that on the company, right? They're saying, because of my job, I'm burnt out. What's helpful is when a team member can come with more of that self-awareness to say, it's also things at home. It's also the current state of things in our country. And you know what it is? It's that every single one of my clients is also talking about the same thing.
Right.
And for all modalities, this happens. But for mental health counseling, we're literally doing a lot of talking. And so during COVID, it felt like Groundhog's Day, right? And I'm sure you felt that too. But it was, from the start of the day to the end of the day, I had no idea if I had repeated myself to the same person. I mean, it was the same over and over and over, and we couldn't do anything to change it. We couldn't, So I think one thing that we can do as leaders when team members come to us with, I'm feeling super burnt out, this is too much for me. Let's pause. Let's really look at the whole picture. What's going on at home? What are you feeling from the environment? And what's going on at work? What do we have control over? Are there any shifts we can make at home? And what shifts can you make within yourself and your own care? And I know you care about this a lot. And could you engage less with the updates of the news? That was the biggest thing during COVID, was like, we got to stop watching the news. You got to stop looking on all the updates on Facebook. You have to remove yourself from it. I saw a really awesome post the other day where someone was saying, I think it was a therapist, was saying, and I agree with her, obviously what our president is doing is very intentionally creating overwhelm, and by doing a lot of things in a short period of time, making a lot of changes in a short period of time. And it's on purpose, because when we get in that state, when our brains get in that state, we start to be desensitized and not focus on other larger things that are changing or going on around us. So the encouragement she was giving in her post was like, pick 3 things, pick 1 to 3 things that you really care about, that you want to focus on. And I encourage all of our listeners that those items center around healthcare, right? It's like, how do we bring the focus back to what we're doing and why we're doing it? And that also helps our team members refocus. Like, okay, let's choose 1 to 3 things to focus on, and everything else is just noise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the only way you can stay focused and positive, somewhat positive. Yeah.
Yeah. And just knowing like the work that we're doing with our clients it continues to make a huge difference in their lives. Everybody's stressed. And so coming back to that, reminding yourself, well, keep showing up and doing what we do as healthcare providers, that's going to continue to make a positive impact.
Yeah. Agreed. It's a heavy one, this one, Kendall.
It's a heavy one. Yeah. And my encouragement is just to, be who you are and stick to, for our listeners, it's like, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great work. And also to be mindful of your own capacity and your own threshold. I think what I learned during COVID was, and I knew it while it was happening at the time, it just didn't feel like there was another choice. But I knew that I was taking on the weight of my whole team's emotions. I ended up becoming my team's therapist, in addition to seeing all my actual clients. And it was really interesting because a lot of my therapist colleagues in the community were also reaching out to me for guidance, like what to do with their business, and which was amazing. And I had no idea what I was doing on how to navigate a pandemic. That one was new for all of us, right?
What?
But what I found myself doing was taking on the weight of the emotions of the team. And it greatly impacted my health, greatly. And I would drive home every single day sobbing. I would see clients all day, help the team, go home sobbing. And people who know me know that I am a bit of a crier. I use tears for a lot of my emotions, but as a therapist, I'm not a crier. And I am trained on how to take the stories and release them. And I never drive home crying. But during COVID, it was daily. But at the time, I had support, but I also, felt so lonely. And I felt like there was no other choice. I felt like I would lose my whole team if I wasn't everything they needed.
Right.
Can you relate to that at all?
Very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so. And that's why as we enter this new phase, I feel just utterly exhausted by the thought of it, because if I have to rally in the same way as I had to do in 2020, I'm not sure I have it, you know?
We don't have it in us. And I don't think we have to rally in the same way. It's different. And it also, my approach this time is that each of us has our own responsibility to advocate for ourselves and care for ourselves. And I feel a much stronger and clearer boundary in my company now of my role and how I show up, and to be able to guide and show the team, like, this is the space that we give to what's going on externally when we're here. Yeah. And there's room to support you, because this is really heavy in working with all of your clients, but that's work related, and that makes sense. But I feel a much stronger boundary within myself this time, and it feels different and better. And we're only, a few weeks into it. So I don't know.
Well, hopefully it holds.
Yeah. What's one encouragement you have for our listeners before we close?
Stay rooted and grounded in who you are.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. I would say I would echo that. I think alternative healthcare providers and what we're doing in our small businesses is so powerful. I think it makes a huge, huge impact. And I keep telling my family too, and, people around in my community, I'm here to focus on our little community and what we're doing. And that's what I keep coming back to. How can I keep it small? Keep it small. And most of us, most humans want to help each other, and people who are coming to see us want to feel better. So that's what we're here to do. And that's what we're going to keep focusing on doing. So that's my encouragement for our listeners. Also, especially for this episode, I do invite people to email us with specific questions. If you're getting stuck in your business, right? Like if you're having employees come to you with, really can't hold a boundary on this, or they want to talk about politics at work all the time, or they're, people are in arguments with each other on your team. We can't assume that everyone who works for you voted the same way or will vote the same way or feels the same way. It's just not true. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And I've learned that over and over again. Our company has been open for 3 elections. The year we opened was 2016 election. And so I've just learned over and over, you're not going to have a whole team of people necessarily every time who agrees on all of this. So,
and don't make assumptions.
And don't make assumptions ever. And that's why it's really important as leaders too, that we are not sitting in front of the team making huge statements and bashing people. And, we have to come with more of a neutral approach and welcome everyone always. But I invite people to write in to Anna and I. You can email me, kendall@wellnesscentercreators.com, with specific questions that Anna and I can answer around this topic in future episodes. And we hope you have an awesome week and find those moments of pause and care of self.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to the Wellness Center Creators podcast. We hope you found this episode informative and valuable.
If you enjoyed the show, please consider subscribing and leaving a rating and review. Your support helps us reach more health and wellness professionals like you.
For additional resources, show notes, and more episodes, visit our website at wellnesscentercreators.com.
We'd love to connect with you and hear your thoughts, experiences, and questions. Feel free to reach out to us through our website or social media channels.
Once again, thank you for listening. We appreciate your dedication to providing exceptional patient care.
Join us next time as we continue exploring the world of wellness center creation. Until then, take care and keep making a difference.
Thanks for listening to the Wellness Center Creators podcast.